I cleared the CFA Level 1 in less than a month, and at first I didn't like admitting that out loud because I honestly thought I passed by luck. But as I'm preparing for CFA Level 2 now, I realize that there's a lot of scheduling, there's a lot of strategies that I've inbuilt into my brain from CFA Level 1, which are kind of proof that this was not just luck. So if you're someone on the journey, this video is for you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Ananya and I recently started my YouTube channel. Here's the structure that I think is going to help you out if you have limited amount of time, or even if you don't have limited amount of time, if you're just preparing for CFA Level 1 and you're trying to look at all the videos that you can find. This is for you. So this entire video is only it's properly structured towards people who are already aware about what the CFA is and who are actually on an active path to probably pursue it. If you're someone who doesn't know what CFA is, I'll definitely be making a video about that very soon. So as of now, this is just for people who are probably targeting to write the CFA Level 1 and pursue the CFA journey. The number one thing is to have awareness, and this is in reference to what your background with the financial industry and financial knowledge is. For a reference, I took commerce in my 11th and 12th and then I did BCom specializing in international finance. So I considerably did have knowledge in finance and accounting as compared to someone who's very new to this industry, because of which a lot of the terms, a lot of the concepts that were being taught in CFA Level 1 were things that I already knew. But if you're someone who's completely new to this industry and who's pursuing CFA afresh, this would definitely take a lot more time for you, and it would be something that you have to get accustomed to, and these are concepts that you might not have come across before. So depending on that, the duration that you spend to study for this will definitely change. To give an average of how much time a CFA Level 1 would probably take a person, if someone is studying for 2 hours a day every single day for about 6 months, I think it should be enough time. The recommended time is honestly 300 hours for CFA Level 1, but I've just given a buffer 360 for anyone who's new to this, and a lot of people do end up clearing it in time less than that because they already are aware with the concepts that are being taught in this sometimes. But it's really important for someone to structure the prep around the fact that it's not about the time that you spend on it, but it's on the kind of concept clarity that you're getting. There's a reason why the CFA curriculum is structured in a way that there's only 10 subjects that are being covered in all 3 levels of the exam. So once you're clear about what's your starting point, whether you already have a little bit of awareness about the subjects that are mentioned on the CFA website, or you're just starting afresh, it becomes very clear for you to decide how much you should be investing in terms of prep. So here comes the most important aspect of it, is number 2, which is deciding what prep provider to be using and the study materials that you can use. So I get so many questions from a lot of people asking about which prep provider to use. Is this better? Would this help us or whatever? Here's the thing. Everyone is going to help you pass. Every single prep provider is, honestly, 90% of the prep providers that come up in names are certified by CFA. So CFA must be recognizing these prep providers after properly evaluating them. Each prep provider is providing you with everything you need to pass. But the main thing is honestly on how you prepare for the exam. So to properly understand which one is going to work for you and which one does not, you need to understand which one properly sinks into your way of studying. And it's always better to spend more time researching which prep provider works for you than getting stuck with the wrong prep provider and suffering. There's no right and wrong in terms of whether they clear the portion that you want or not. There is right and wrong in terms of whether they match the way you learn or not. So these matches and mismatches with the prep providers are completely subjective to the way you learn. If you're someone who likes that, Hindi push in the middle, like aise nahi karo, aise karo, you want that sort of personal touch, then you should be going for local Indian prep providers who are reputable and recognized by the CFA Institute. But if you're someone who is, who wants that extremely professional push in an English accent, then you should go for the outside prep providers. That's a very easy example to distinguish between prep providers. There's a lot more in terms of, do you like videos, do you like textbooks, do you like live recordings, do you like proper recordings, do you like going in class? There's so many aspects that you should be looking at in terms of what matches your schedule and your way of learning. And that should be your top priority. It's to understand which sort of thing is going to work for you. 95% of these prep providers have demo lectures available on YouTube for you to decide from before you make payments to them. Any prep provider that is asking you for money before showing you a demo lecture is not doing it right. So make sure you're properly looking at these demo lectures and then deciding which one you think you got the most value from, and then going with that prep provider. There are so many students who also go for self-study, and that honestly, in my personal opinion, works very well for CFA Level 1. But considering this is a professional exam by a very reputable body, it's always recommended to get a prep provider. Even if you feel like you can do this on your own, you need the guidance from someone who knows what is going on. And that is why it's always recommended to go for any one prep provider, whether you like it or not. The last thing you should be keeping in mind in the beginning phase is that this is your exam. It doesn't matter at the end of the day how much the prep provider is providing you in terms of value. Now, it's fine for you to look at it from that Indian perspective of, am I getting the most out of this money? Am I getting everything that I need? That's completely fine. But at the end of the day, the prep provider can only guide you. They're not going to hold your hand and take you to the end of the journey. So it's for you to understand that this is no more a college exam. This is no more a school way of learning where you're going to be provided with everything that you need, and that's it. This is your exam, and you need to be able to properly structure your days and decide whether or not you want to pass this exam. So unless and until your mindset is not structured to the manner that this is my exam and no one else is going to be able to plan this out for me except myself, you won't be able to see yourself passing this exam. Okay, now we get into the most crucial phase of everything, which is the preparation phase. And with CFA Level 1, boy, is this the hardest phase to crack, because there's 10 subjects, right? And the way the CFA is structured is that these 10 subjects are going to be carried forward in CFA Level 2 and in CFA Level 3. So for you to be able to properly pass and ace this entire CFA journey is to make sure your base, which is your CFA Level 1, is clear. And for that, your preparation strategy is extremely crucial. So the number one thing to understand when it comes to the preparation phase is that you need to understand your rhythm. What I mean by this is that you need to be able to properly understand what sort of preparation strategy works for you. Hear me out with this. When there are 10 subjects involved, always the first question that comes to our mind is, which subject do I start with? And a lot of times you will hear people say go from easy to hard and hard to easy. But in CFA, it is very important for us to understand, what does hard mean? Hard does not mean that it's impossible to solve. You can easily solve the questions once you learn them. So now your question is going to be, which approach do I take? Do I take easy subject to hard subject or hard subject to easy subject? Well, the way to deal with this is honestly in your head itself. I want you to take yourself back to a college exam that you've given or a school exam that you've given. And the night before the exam, when you're actually preparing for it, how are you going about with the chapters? Are you covering the harder chapter first because you feel getting the harder subject out is going to help you out do the easier ones faster? Or are you doing the easy chapters first because you feel you have accomplished something and that will help you out with the harder chapter? Depending on the approach you've used there, most likely the same approach is going to help you out in the CFA journey as well. The CFA journey or any professional certification is not similar to your college exam is because there's no sectional passing. It doesn't matter whether you do the easy subject first or the hard subject first. You will have to do both the subjects. You'll have to do all the 10 subjects and you have to pass in all the 10 subjects. Now, it's very possible that an XYZ person might have come to you and told you that, oh, I got a very high score in ethics and I got a very, very low score in derivatives, but I still passed because it's somehow said that a high ethics score would compensate for a low score in another subject. CFA hasn't claimed anything like this, and it might be true. Someone might have passed because of this. But your strategy when you go into learning for these exams should not be to aim a particular subject. You have to pass all the 10 subjects. You have to. And this might work in favor of you on the day of the exam maybe, but as of now, your mindset should be to clear all 10 subjects. It doesn't matter if you give sectional importance to one of them, because at the end of the day, your score is going to be shown for all 10 subjects, and that should be your goal. So when it comes to these subjects, play to your strengths and start with the subjects that you already feel you are more well versed with. I personally love accountancy, and that's why I started with FSA. A lot of people find FSA extremely hard to do, but I personally found it extremely easy, and that boosted my confidence. After that, I went to economics, but because I felt a lot of the portion was very similar to what we have learned from 11th and 12th in school to what we have covered in university. So it's very important for you to understand what is actually being taught in the exams in the subjects so that you get a clarity about which one to start with. Because if you want a confidence boost, you should definitely start with things that you've already done before. The second point when it comes to preparation is that you need to pick a plan that does not overwhelm you. It's very easy for such a vast portion exam to overwhelm a person when it comes to prep. And you have to do a lot of trial and error to find a method that truly works for you. And it does not matter how much time goes into trying to find a new method. Finding the right method is the key to doing an exam. I'm going to take a minute and talk about two methods that have worked for people. Now, both these approaches are keeping in mind that an average student probably has 3 references for the preparation journey, which is the prep provider that you've picked, the Schweser textbooks, which are honestly, I feel, should, it's a must have for every CFA aspirant. And number 3 is the CFA LES portal and the textbooks that CFA provides themselves. Now, both the approaches are extremely similar with one tiny difference. Each approach has 3 steps. The first step, and this is for each topic, okay? The first step is a video lecture for the topic. You have a certain topic, you have a video lecture for it. Proper concept about the topic is being covered in this video lecture. Probably a few examples are being given, and this is the video lecture being provided to you by the prep provider. So there's a professor teaching you this with proper explanations and examples to help you get the best concept clarity. Number 2 is your own approach. This is you reading your Schweser notes. It's reading the Schweser book, making your own notes with it, probably making a formula book, probably making a few summary notes for yourself. And finally, number 3, it's the practice. It's practicing questions related to that concept, related to that topic on the LES portal, on the prep provider website that you've probably taken, or any other Schweser practice questions that you probably have. The main difference here arises in between the emphasis given to each step in 1 and 2. There are few people who would give more emphasis to learning from the video lecture provided from the prep provider and lesser emphasis to making their own notes by reading the Schweser notes. A lot of people would probably make their own notes while looking at the video itself and give 80% attention to the video, 20% attention to Schweser notes. And there would be other set of people who give 80% emphasis to the Schweser notes. They like to read on their own and make their own notes and make formula notes by reading, by actually looking at the words themselves and highlighting it, and 20% emphasis to the video lecture because they just want that concept clarity from a certain professor on their own once. This sort of difference in the approach is extremely crucial because one might work very well for one person and the other might work very well for another. I'm someone who likes doing the second one, where I give 80% emphasis to Schweser notes and 20% to the video lecture. Why this works for me and why I think it works for a lot of people is it removes the overwhelming aspect from the entire preparation process. You know that your focus needs to be the most alert when it comes to one aspect of the preparation and not when it's on all of it. So when I'm looking at the video lectures, I have lesser pressure on myself to make sure that I know every single thing being taught, because I know for a fact that I'm going to do it much more detail in the Schweser reading. But another person who is in the other category might read it just very quickly, just to get an idea that he's covered everything, but he might give more emphasis of brain energy on the video aspect because he learns better with that. And that sort of bifurcation is extremely important for your mind, because then you have a proper clarity and less anxiety about how you're going to cover the entire process. So this is what I do when it comes to my note taking. I read the Schweser book, and when I'm reading the book, I make my notes in the side as summary notes. So this entire column that you see is a summary notes for the entire page. This helps me make the entire page very concise. As I said, I cleared CFA Level 1 in less than a month. That meant I probably had like 4 to 5 days for the review process. And all I did was take these Schweser books and just read my columns of notes. So it was a very condensed and concise version where I was covering every subject in like 1 hour max. And I only cover the important points. So that way it also feels like I'm doing the entire book again, but at the same time I'm doing very concise notes. And I think this sort of note taking is a lot more beneficial than actually making proper notes once again, because that can become extremely time consuming. Coming to phase 3, which is the practice, which is honestly the most crucial thing that people often forget when it comes to professional certifications, you need to practice as many questions as possible. There's no way you're going to clear an exam like CFA or CMA or CPA or ACCA or anything without question practice. There's a reason the questions of these professional certifications, especially CFA, from what I've seen, are structured in such a application-based manner. You need to be able to have the practice to read long passages, to understand the storyline of what is being communicated, to understand what position they were in, to understand the financial industry, and then answer the question given. So practicing questions is extremely important. And with this question practice, it does not matter how many questions. There is no maximum number to how many questions you practice. You can practice 12,000 questions for all I care. All you need to keep in mind is when it comes to question practice, the CFA Institute LES portal should be your best friend. No matter what questions you practice, there might be really good quality prep providers, really good question banks available on the internet. But no matter what, you need to be properly confident in doing the CFA LES portal before you go to the exam. This portal is created by CFA people themselves. They made this, they make the exam. So this should be your best friend. And what is a comfortable score, you would say? I don't know, maybe, I think a 70 plus in all the subjects is very comfortable. I think if you're getting 70 plus in all the tests on the LES portal, I think you're good to go. But if you're getting less than that and you still believe you have concept clarity, I think there's still chances. It's a very subjective thing, but all I'm saying is those questions in that LES website should be your best friend. You can do everything you want, but that should be your go-to always. Lastly, to talk about the average duration it should probably take for a CFA level 1. Look, I don't know, minimum could be like 2 weeks. I know people who have done it in 2 weeks, and that is all on people's genius instincts and how aware they are about the syllabus. Maximum, in my personal opinion, should be 6 months. I don't think someone should be doing CFA level 1 for more than 6 months because it's such a vast exam in terms of portion. You spend more time. So more time basically means more review sessions. So if you're even covering syllabus in 2 months and you have 6 months left for the exam, you're doing more and more review sessions. More review sessions means more time to forget. And so that is why I honestly believe it should be, the right amount of time would probably be like 3 to 4 months or 4 to 5 months, but not more than 6 months. But again, it's a personal journey. It's all up to you. If you're someone who still needs more advice about this, I'm definitely like one LinkedIn message away. So I'd love to help out and I'd love to get on call with you and try my best to help you out. And if there's anything specific that you think I haven't addressed, which I know I haven't addressed a lot of things, but if there's anything else I can address, comment down below or let me know on LinkedIn or anywhere that you know me, and I will definitely try and make another video. But yeah, that is that. If you're someone pursuing CFA, all the very best. I'll definitely be making more and more videos about CFA, CMA, and a lot more certifications in the future. But as of now, this is this. And yeah, if you like this, if you like any of this, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and like this video so that I know that you watched it, because thanks. And I'll see you next time. Bye.